We're Batman at 89.
Hello and welcome once again to Batch Minute 89, the podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and gatecrash Tim Burton's 1989 Batman film 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I am the other one, John Parker.
How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. It's Friday. I'm excited. We're taking people into the weekend.
Yeah. Got it. Well, it's New Year's this Sunday. What a week! What a week!
Oh
John.
my God, exciting
The end
stuff.
of 2017.
Oh, finally.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think of 2017? I think it's still better than 2016.
Not by much, but yeah, slightly.
To be fair, I've actually been having the beginning of the year is pretty bad for me because I got like a flat broken into and stuff like that. But
Oh no!
but
I've gotten broken into too.
but since then,
Did they take anything?
No. Oh, there's a whole story behind that, but I won't go into it on the show. But no, nothing was taken. But it was a person I lived with. Like I was the kind of freaky part of it. Like it was the fact that I knew it was him.
Jesus.
But the rest of the year has been really good because we launched this show and we've been doing this and we've gathered we've been doing all right at it. So. Yeah.
Although at least we're having a good year. You know what I mean? A lot of
There you
other
go.
people are not, sadly.
Not having a good year. At least not like 2016 was when all the celebrities died.
Yeah.
Like that was the year of like it just like took out everybody. Carrie Fisher was at the very tail end of that. Remember?
Oh God, don't
She
remind
went with
me.
that. Yeah. So did you guys get your Star Wars tickets? 'Cause,
Oh yeah. Counting that.
That's next. That's well, not next week. It already would have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
yes.
have seen it.
we don't know. We don't know yet. No spoilers.
But yeah, 'cause I mean, like you said, like 2016 is the year of the dead celebrities. The year 2017 is like the year of "you're dead to me" celebrities. It's like that kind of thing.
Yes, it's the year of the sex offender
Oh
celebrities.
God, I was just going to say the death of all hope. But never mind.
But at least the movies by minutes podcast. It's,
Yes.
the guys talking about Batman have done all right for themselves. But anyway, people might be wondering, in case you couldn't remember from the previous 2 episodes, who is speaking. We have filmmaker, YouTube vlogger, comic book creator as well, Stephanie Palacino.
That is all right. That's correct. That is me. I think. Yes,
Thank
it's
you
me.
for sticking around all week,
It's
putting up with
all right.
us, staying in our spare room.
We I'll take the free box of popcorn you leave outside the door.
But today we're talking about minute 78. Minute 78.
One where something actually happens.
Yeah, stuff. It's kind of like the thing. It's like, oh, get that carrot at the end of that stick. It's like, oh, finally something does happen in this scene. But we get to begins with Bruce still holding conference and ends 1 minute later with a mysterious newcomer who has infiltrated the whole party. So we'll get to that when we get to it. Yeah, this thing is all this stuff with Michael Keaton now as well. I have a bad vibe because things were getting like rewritten in this a lot when they were going, and in the final the drafts, the drafts I've seen, like the most up to date ones, they don't have like this dialogue in there, and it's kind of like because Michael Keaton was like a stand-up comedian before he became.
What was he?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of these
Yeah.
people. I know that a lot of people used to get on that scene. That's how a lot of them started.
Yeah.
Was it? Where was he in? I assume L.A. So probably like Groundlings or something like that.
Yeah.
The Comedy Store.
But this has a real vibe of like just improv something, and it's kind of like this is Michael Keaton's stand-up set because he's all like, it's all this,
It's not so stellar stand-up.
yeah, you know how like a guy gets up and he eats breakfast and
I've never
maybe
eaten
kisses-
breakfast in my life. No. Kisses somebody.
kisses
Oh my
somebody
God!
walks by,
Yeah.
and it's kind
On
of
a
like
job and
you can just imagine it's like what's the deal with the living 2 lives? It's really like is this the,
I like Vicky Vale's answer. No.
No.
no idea what you're talking about, Bruce.
She's got to be deliberately winding him up. Because all he said, as you say, is, you know when you go downstairs, eat breakfast, go to work? No. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you do know. Shut up.
I don't eat breakfast. Do I look like I eat?
Oh, that's a good point, actually.
It brings to mind with me of so I was just in my head, it was like, oh, how could you not know? But then that line always makes me think of, you guys, have you seen the Prestige? with the Christian
Oh,
Bale,
yeah.
Chris Nolan movie. There you go. But
I used to get that one and The Illusionist always mixed up because they're almost the same movie.
yeah, well, they came out.
And they came out the same time. It's
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, there's a bit, and because the whole thing is like Hugh Jackman's quest to fame and sort of screw over
I
Christian
hate
Bale.
this guy. Look at him being
Yeah.
Christian Bale.
And it's all about
Ooh.
like whether he tied the right knot and the escape routine.
Didn't they almost kill like one of the actresses? Like,
Yeah, I
in
think so,
The
yeah.
drowning scene. They were like, she was really drowning, and she's like, like freaking out, like, help, help, help.
But yeah, because all told from different points of narration, it'd be like Hugh Jackman reading Christian Bale's diary. And at one point, you find out then that like you keep thinking like, oh, he's managed to get this really craftily, but it turns out that this diary was written by Christian Bale. No, he knew that Hugh Jackman would get this diary, and at one point, Hugh Jackman's on the train reading it, and he's just like the narration's just like, look, I can't remember which knot I tied that killed your wife, so I'm genuinely sorry. And then Hugh Jackman goes like, he just screams like, how could he not know? And then it goes into Hugh Jackman's narration. How could he not know? And it's the most inadvertently hilarious scene. But every time I have the phrase, how could she not know? In my head, I'm going, how could she not know? How could she not know?
Hugh Jackman. Oh, I want to see what's the Barnum and Bailey movie coming out. What was that one called? The Greatest Show on Earth?
Oh, yeah. The PT.
It's got P.T. Barnum show movie about
yeah.
him.
But I've only seen the trailer. Like, I've only seen...
I know the trailers look really good. Like, I'm like, wow, I want to go watch this.
Yeah.
This looks fun. It's got, what's her name? It's got the one who played Mary Jane. Spoilers. My friends call me MJ. God damn it.
Oh, I thought you
why?
meant... For a second, I thought you meant Kirsten Dunst. Like, was she in it? I was like, oh, you mean
No, I meant Zendaya.
Yeah, the other one. Very different.
But, anywho.
Well, I love this bit here, right? Because he comes back with, Vicky, what I'm trying to tell you is... There's a pause, and she says, you can tell me, like all affectionately. He's won her over.
Oh, yeah, she's...
Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
She's
But
completely changed her tune. This is real.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's become very affectionate.
Yeah, she's like smiling at him. Oh, you. With that little shove to the chair.
Well, it fits what we were saying, though. Like, this now genuinely sounds like he's about to come out. Like, he's like, I'm gay. Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Now, especially now you've planted that in my head. If he just came out with that, I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But no, that has this. But he's trying to come up with this again, and then they do that thing. This is one of my most like loathed tropes in film and TV. With the doorbell, like something really important's about to happen, and then something like a doorbell rings or a phone rings to interrupt it. It's up there. I hate in movies when people order like coffee or a drink or food or something in a cafe, and then they do the scene, and then they just leave, and they leave the coffee sitting there.
Oh,
That annoys me.
yeah.
And it's just like, well, you paid in real life. You paid for that. You sit and drink it, or you eat it, or whatever. And just in general, I just hate amnesia plot lines. Which is weird because I was a big fan of Twin Peaks, and the entirety of season 3 was an amnesia plot line that I quite liked. But
But that's a different spin on amnesia,
yeah,
let's be honest.
but there is like the amnesia in general. I remember in the first season of 24, which was the only one I really watched. I had the vibe of 24 that I don't think they quite realized that they had to fill up 24, like, it's supposed to be hours, but like 45-minute episodes. Because halfway through the first season, like his wife gets amnesia. It's like, amnesia is like a season 6 plot, when you're like,
Yes.
you ran out of things to do.
Doot, doot, doot. Oh, man. That shows
I was hearing that in my head before you did it, so thank you.
Yeah. Every show has done a parody of 24. Like every comedy show has done at least one. I remember the South Park one with Hillary Clinton.
But yeah, this whole business though as well. Just like there was something the other day I was watching, and I think I was watching the finale of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and there was a whole thing of like,
Oh, I've heard it's really good. Is it good?
oh, it's good. If you have any beef with the Gilmore Girls, if you have anything about like, yeah, it's good. Gilmore Girls, like, it's great, but they're a bit too in love with the characters, and it's a bit try hard with the dialogue sometimes. That's all true of this as well, but it also has the same level of like charm and genuine wit to it, and you are like, no, I do enjoy watching these people. But there's a bit, where like, spoilers. There's someone in the crowd watching her stand-up set that shouldn't be there, and you're just like, oh god, this person's going to interrupt. There's going to be a big scene. It's just like I don't want this to happen. And then thankfully it doesn't happen. And it's like, oh, because that would have been this trope of like, he's about to come out with this major piece of information and the doorbell goes. And it's like, oh, God damn it. You know?
Oh, you mean like right now?
See, personally, if I'm doing something important, the doorbell goes or the phone rings, screw it. I'm doing something important. Ignore it.
Oh, like I ignore the doorbell ringing unless I'm expecting someone.
Yeah,
or a
yeah.
package.
I mean, I get too
know
many
it's-
Amazon packages, so I assume that's what it is. But occasionally, I've gotten like caught by the Jehovah's Witnesses. Like,
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10 now, though, you know it's the Amazon package.
Yeah,
Because you
but-
know where it is when it's coming
yeah,
vaguely.
yeah, that's true.
But no, even a general rule now, like if my phone rings, I don't recognize that number. It's like, I'm not answering that. Like, why would someone I don't know
Nope.
be ringing me? Like,
Exactly.
this can only be a bad thing. If you have bad news to deliver, please send it in email form. You know, and then I can deal with it in my own way instead of having to talk to someone on the friggin' phone about it. But anywho, but yeah, Vicky very promptly gets up to answer the door, and this is, you know, I said that I don't like this scene. This is the real reason why. It's him mouthing, you know, I'm Batman, trying to psyching himself up. Like, I'm
You're
Batman.
like,
I quite liked that.
Oh no.
I love how they don't like they don't have anywhere like okay, I lived back in the day where this movie took place. Did no one else have a freaking peephole? Like to look out the goddamn door before letting in, you know, the Joker.
Well, to be
Like,
fair,
not who is it or anything.
but to be
Well,
fair,
see,
the she doesn't even get near the door before it gets kicked in. So it's like,
Or
well,
it gets kicked in. Yeah,
true,
you're right.
true.
What?
Maybe it's just me, like living in
Well,
weird
but,
houses. I
okay,
don't know.
okay,
'cause
if you
I've-
were gonna kick in the door, why would you ring the goddamn doorbell?
to be weird. I think it's
Yeah.
the sole reason. No, but I don't know if it's just me living in weird houses because I've lived in multiple houses all over the bloody world. So I didn't have a peephole. I don't think I've ever had a peephole. I don't know whether that's just me. Is it normal to everyone else and I'm just a freak?
no,
I don't-
I've never had a people either that I can
I
recall.
Maybe it's a
I
British
always had
thing.
peephole.
Maybe we're
Maybe you
we're
guys don't
odd.
care who's at the door.
Yeah.
I'm like, no,
In the past, we were friendly. We let people in, and now we're
for
trying
a
to keep
cup
them out.
of tea,
Apparently,
and then you're like, no more tea. Tea is finished.
But you know, we'll just once again just reiterate. Really don't like that I'm Batman thing. 'Cause it's just like this doesn't ring true to the character. It doesn't seem right to me.
I'm going to tell you, this woman who I kind of maybe have we're not even boyfriend girlfriend. Like,
But
well, she seems to think that they're together, but
Oh, no, she-
all movie he's been trying to ditch her until this scene.
but you know, make my peace with that. Because then we do get after that moment, everything kind of picks up again, and the film gets back on track. Because we say not the Joker himself, but Lawrence the Goon with the Goon with the tune.
oh my god.
Shows the door open, and then we get the shot of the Joker, which I should say that I would say it's probably a deliberate thing. Is that it's very reminiscent of in The Killing Joke when Barbara Gordon opens the door and the Joker is just standing there and he shoots her in the spine and that. And I think because The Killing Joke did have an influence on this movie, I can say that
It
probably
was a very popular comic and a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
terrible animated movie.
Yes, indeed it was. But I would say that this kind of
I'm
shot.
sorry, but does anyone else find her scream to be really odd? It was sound mixed bad or something? Like, oh, like what is that?
They
Really?
probably just added it in later.
Yeah,
I'll be
yeah.
honest.
Like it sounds a little like strange. Like I would be in shock, not screaming like, oh,
Ooh.
oh
But,
my goodness! Some large men with a boombox and a clown have come in.
Yeah, I'd be slightly more worried. I'd be like, oh, and not like, oh my god, what's happening?
Yeah, of course. Then we get the beginning of "Beautiful Dreamer" gets played. Yeah, and then Joker does his playful "Miss Me." Like this is their reunion after she got rescued by the same guy who's actually in the room who they don't notice, which is
They
quite
don't realize
strange.
exactly. Does the Joker know? Like, is it canon that he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman? I assumed he at least in I used to watch the 1990s cartoon. That's probably the one I know the most Batman from, and I always had the assumption that he knew. I don't think it was ever said, but like to me, it seemed like he was always like so ahead of the game and everything that I'm like, he must know.
He doesn't know here, I don't think, does he?
No, not in
No,
this
no.
movie, but I mean like in general. Does he?
Oh, right, yeah.
Or
No,
is
I
it,
don't
like-
think. I don't think. I, think
I mean,
they
he shoots
really-
Barbara Gordon like in the Killing Joke. You would assume he must know Bruce Wayne because I thought that like if he knows that Batgirl is Barbara
Oh,
Gordon.
I don't think he. I think he's going with. It was just because he was abducting Commissioner Gordon, so it's just that Barbara Gordon happened to be there. I don't think he realized, crippled Batgirl. He's just like, yeah, this is so whoever was in the way, and then it just, happy coincidence for me.
I don't know because like he never goes out of his way to try to find out who Batman is. Like you'd assume he's his arch nemesis. Like I'm gonna figure out who this guy is so I can with him.
Yeah.
But does he know? Does he just know and then just assume well, he's Bruce Wayne, I won't bother him until he turns into Batman? No.
I think they do deal with it in the Dark Knight and kind of.
Yeah, because Harvey Dent pretended to be Bruce Wayne. Oh, I'm Bruce Wayne.
And the whole thing is like, throughout that movie, Joker wanted to know who Batman was, and then at the end, when the guy's on TV about to announce like I'm here to reveal who Batman is, the Joker calls the TV show and he's just like, I've had a change of heart. Like you'd be ruining my fun if I knew who Batman was. I'm having too good a time. So no, you can't tell people who Batman is now. I get that's the vibe throughout the comics. Is maybe he doesn't want to know. So he's like, no, because I would spoil the fun of just me and this guy going at it. And I know they did play with it in the Death of the Family storyline. They kind of like, is he gonna finally know, and all this sort of stuff. And they kind of got their way out of that again and things like that. But
I honestly see Jack Nicholson taking the most from what's his name? Is it Caesar Romero or Romano? I'm getting this.
Oh, Romero, yeah.
Romero, yeah. I think he takes a lot. I didn't realize till watching the old episodes of, the 1960s Batman that he's painted over his mustache. He has a mustache. Like the whole
My
time.
favorite bit.
And I'm like, hey, he has a mustache. Like as a kid, I never noticed.
No, I didn't notice as a kid either. And then I found out years later that it's basically because that was his signature look. And he's like, right, I'll do your stupid comic book movie superhero thing, but I'm not shaving this. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's funny. I thought about it because of Justice League, because of what's his
Yes.
name? Henry Cavill. They did that weird CGI
Oh,
out
God.
of his like mustache.
I do wonder as well, though, because I knew going into it that was going to be a thing.
Like,
I
did we all
wonder.
Were you
look for
looking?
it?
Was I looking for? Because I know in that opening scene, it's like, oh, for sure, for definite, you can see
but
it
like
there.
okay, CGI has come so far in the way it's been now, but I will honestly say, like, it's not as good as like Hollywood pretends it is. Like Rogue One, that uncanny valley, thing that started to happen, like with some of the characters, I was like, no, because they look like there's something just ever so off about them,
Yeah, it was odd that they went with that because
I didn't
mean,
understand why he
I-
turned around because it was working so well.
Yes.
I was like, wow, you kind of see his reflection. Very artsy. Good choice. And then he turns around. I'm like, oh, no. It's like I'm
Yeah.
playing freaking Xbox.
Like, I didn't hate it because I justified it in my mind. Like, well, he's in the cartoon. It's kind of like a cartoon. But I'm the same as you. Like, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is really cool. We're just going to see him in reflection. That's really clever. That's really good use of CGI. And then it's like, oh, no, you're going to see him loads. It's like-
And then Princess Leia, too, which also made it totally weird, right? Because you're like, oh, Carrie Fisher, no. Ah. When that happened, it was like, Jesus Christ.
I don't mind admitting that I shed a tear. So, yeah.
The weird thing with Tarkin as well, though, is the fact that, like, I think he's in Rogue One more than he's in A New Hope.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Actually, Tarkin is a lot in Rogue One.
Oh, I'm rewatching that tonight. Actually.
I wanted to watch. I have to watch what's it called, Force Awakens. But no, Rogue One is like. I have the same feeling a lot of people have about Rogue One, which is like I really don't like the characters except for like the two Asians, the robots, and
Yeah.
but I really like the ending. Like I'm like last act was very good, and then
I love that. It's weird because a lot of that's the studio tampering part of
Yeah.
it as well. It's
I've
like,
heard
oh,
that
they-
it got some major rewrites because Jin is like the most boring character in the world. Like she's not allowed to
She is
have any emotion or do anything.
I like her, but she is kind of a blank slate, isn't she? Like, there's not.
Like even her
There's not
stare
much
is a blank
to
slate.
her.
Okay, first off, the fact that she gives that empowering speech, I'm like, who the hell are you? I was expecting them to say that to her. Like, excuse me, who are you? Like,
Why are you here?
giving us this like big speech of like inspiration, Miss Nobody, who's like always running away and like and they start saying things about her. It's like one of those they don't show, they tell, like, oh, Jyn Erso, you've done this, and that, and you've been wanted for this crime and that crime, and and yes, that's right, that's me, I'm a badass.
Yeah. I think it
And
was more the
Cassian, the same thing. I'm like, why is he in love with Jin? Like, how did that happen? He's supposed to be this literally shoots the messenger type of character, and he's like going out of his way to rescue this girl. Why? They don't know
Yeah.
each other.
I did like that aspect of his character though, where he would kill someone.
I thought, yes, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I thought then why, like, him feeling bad about the other stuff? I'm like, nah.
Yeah, changed him a bit too much, maybe.
Like, but no, the blind guy, he was awesome. I liked him. What was his name?
Oh hell yeah, Donnie Yen.
Now, I know
what a
Donnie
legend.
Yen, like the actor, and like the other dude too. Those two were good.
Yeah.
And the robot was funny.
I'm a big fan. I mean, I love anything to do with Star Wars. To be perfectly honest, you could
The
make me watch the
prequels? You
Ewok
watched the
cartoon.
prequels?
Right, as Star Wars movies, they're not very good, but I would still rather watch them than a lot of movies in the world.
No,
so I
okay, but
guess
that's a valid point.
I'll still put them on from time to time. Not as much as the proper movies, shall we say.
I always ended up watching. This is what I used to do all the time. Like, there was this scene in I nonstop watched Return of the Jedi, but like just that scene.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah, everybody like loves Empire, but I like Return of the Jedi. I just skip the Ewok
Yes.
scenes. So
No.
yes, I'm not an Ewok, but that scene, like, because the best scene in that movie is where Luke gives himself up and. He's talking to Vader, and then he gets, he meets the Emperor. Like that last bit where, him and Vader fight. Like, oh, you have a, you have a sister. If you can't be turned, maybe she. And he's like, ah! I was like, yes, Mark Hamill, that's right. Kick his ass.
Oh, that is the most emotional. To me, that's the most emotional scene in the entirety of films. To be honest, right? I think we're justified in going off topic because
Because we went through that already.
this is yet another minute that nothing's really happening. Is
Yeah.
it? Let's be honest. It's very. I mean, Joker comes in, as we've said, and he goes, "Oh, miss me," and he does a kind of weird little extended laugh. I quite like that because it's pretty unsettling. 'Cause nothing funny's even happened. He just walks in and starts laughing. That's pretty creepy. I like Joker like that.
Yeah. I should mention there is also talk as well that this might have been inspired by, in the comics, Joker had an insane romantic interest in a woman called Dinah Lance in the story A Gold Star for the Joker from the Joker #4. So everybody got his own friggin' comic. But he becomes, in that story, he actually becomes obsessed with the Green Arrow's girlfriend and starts doing kind of things like this, just showing up places where she is and trying to woo her, and then becoming increasingly violent as he does so, and things like that. So probably not. It's probably that's just sheer coincidence, I'd imagine. But some people have been like, yeah, it's lifting from that, but it's debatable, I would say. The thing is, when Joker comes into the room, it is kind of like that's the minute. Like again, this is a very light week in terms of content in the minutes. So it's I know next week loads of stuff to talk about then, but at this point I think I'm almost kind of noted out for this scene. Like it's really there's not much in terms of the actual content going on screen.
Yeah, so let's go back to Star Wars.
Well, something we do like to ask our guests actually is about their history with both this movie and Batman as a
All
whole.
right.
So if you'd like to bring
I'll
any of
tell
that
you.
into it, that'd be
so
great.
I'm a 90s kid, so obviously my first introduction to Batman is like the 1990s animated series, which has aged remarkably well because I still watch it. I thought that was the best incarnation of Mr. Freeze. Like, he is the best in that freaking series. The Joker, Mark Hamill's, funny enough, we're talking about Star Wars because Mark Hamill's Joker is so amazing. Let me see. I like Selena Kyle, this version of her. I probably liked her more than the Tim Burton movie and the second one. And I don't know. In general, just like I was big into the 90s aesthetic. I was always into Catwoman because every girl likes Catwoman, except in the old Dark Knight comics. No one likes Catwoman. Then she was a hooker. No one aspires to be the hooker who gets beat up by her pimp. That one.
Oh God!
I was
yeah.
like, God, that is so typical of what's his name? What's the
Frank
writer?
Miller.
Yeah, Frank Miller. Frank Miller. I actually very much enjoy his comics, but his ability to write women is a little bit lacking. Let's just say.
I think he's gone off the boil the past couple of years. I think a lot of people, when they like Frank Miller, they're like, you like 1980s Frank Miller. You don't like insane right-wing nutjob Frank Miller, who is currently Like, I think he had that all-star Batman run, and people were like, I think Frank Miller hates Batman. He just is writing him so awfully in this. It's just like, I don't think that was one of those runs that was supposed to be, of course, it's Frank Miller doing a Batman run. It's going to be hugely successful, and it's so detested. I don't think they're going to be able to finish it. I think it's just like, yeah, it's just gone now. That psychotic version of Batman that, like, he actually literally says, you know, I think he says, like, well, you retarded or something? I'm the goddamn Batman.
Come
Oh man,
on.
that sounds awful. Oh,
It's
That's not
terrible,
Batman.
terrible. So, but yeah, but almost in a funny way. So if you want to laugh, just Google Frank Miller All-Star Batman.
I'm gonna have to look this up. So yeah, no, I was more into like the 1990s series. I still think that's one of the best incarnations of Batman, in terms of like that's where Harley Quinn came from. And and I love Harley Quinn. I mean, I think she's f***ed up, and people shouldn't idolize her and like aspire to be her. That's like wrong. But there's a couple iconic scenes in that show that to this day like get to me. Like one when when Joker throws Harley out the window. Like I was like, holy crap! Like, does anyone remember that scene where he it's like, oh, you know, if you have to explain it, then the joke you can't explain the joke or something like that, and then he just shoves her, and like it goes really quiet, and like she should be dead but isn't.
Ooh.
So
You're interested in me here
yeah,
because
the Mad Love episode. That's the one that's the origin story. Of,
the origin story of of their romance.
Yeah.
see, Niall is the huge. Niall knows everything about the Batman. Well, not everything.
No,
that's
not
a bit,
everything. No, there's
overstated.
nowhere near.
Niall is the big Batman fan in the whole totality of Batman. Whereas I'm a Batman fan because I come in through the movies. In the interim seasons of this show, he is going to show me some of the animated series.
Okay, the animated
episodes,
series has some epic episodes. So there's that one. I would say another one is the one. It's always left out. Nobody really remembers this. But Baby Doll. Does anyone remember this character?
Oh yeah, that's remember.
Okay, so there's a character like if you don't know, a character who like she couldn't age. It was almost like a little bit of a Gary Coleman situation.
Yeah.
Where she stays young, and she used to be a TV star. And you find out how like she's like both a child star who's gone a little bit off the rails, and like she won't age and she still looks like a kid. And it's like really tragic, like when she starts like shooting at her own reflection. Like there's some like I said, that's an iconic scene.
Yeah, it's the one because then she sees.
Yeah, she sees what she would look like as an adult. She's like, that's me. That's
The whole thing is like because she's like kidnapped all the cast of her old show.
Yes, exactly. That was
and
one.
Her crazy catchphrase was like, "I didn't mean to" or something like that.
Yeah.
And then at the end when she really tearfully says like, "I didn't mean to,"
mean
and it's like really
to.
like,
Yeah.
holy crap, this is really affecting me and stuff.
Yeah, no, that was a heavy one. Like I said, Mr. Freeze's entire storyline is like really heavy. I was like, oh man, Mr. Freeze. Like I said, I was talking about in an earlier show that I did. I'm working at a burlesque act, which is Mr. Freeze and Nora Freeze. They're like story because like the way we're working it is that like it's like I'm still asleep, but I come awake to do this dance and then go back to sleep. Like it was almost in his imagination. But we use sound clips from the show because his voice was like really creepy.
Oh
you
yeah.
know, revenge is a dish best served cold. He had a very good voice. That voice actor was on par.
Yeah, what was what line he has? It's like Batman's just like, "I'm sorry for what happened in his life. What happened to your wife?" And he's just like, "I would cry if I had any
tears left to shed." Yes, actually, we have that that line. Actually, we do.
yes,
because it's a great line.
And then of course they made the logical decision, like we put that in the big screen. Get Arnie in to do it.
Oh my God.
Who better to deliver this character?
It
than
was
Arnie?
absolutely that's no. That was the end of my love for Batman. Well, so no, what was the other one? There was another scene, which is also with Harley Quinn, where like Harley Quinn, the Joker was basically trying to they were gonna blow up Gotham or some crap like that, and Harley Quinn didn't want to leave because the hyenas. She had those 2 pet hyenas.
Yeah.
And she's like, we have to go back for them.
Cool.
And they're like, no, I'll get you a goldfish. And she just kicks the Joker just right out. No, we are not leaving the freaking hyenas behind. She changes her entire tune for her pets. And I can get on board with that because I would do the same thing for my dog.
People think that's a side of Harley people forget. There's there's many instances of Harley she almost kills the Joker at times. That was
she does. She's probably the only person who's gotten the closest to doing it.
Yeah, there's one. I think there's an episode that ends with he's
She
trying to get over.
yeah. She was to shoot and it goes bang. It wasn't like an actual gun. She pulls the trigger. Remember? Like
Yeah,
there's a
that's right.
scene
Yeah, she was going
where
to kill him.
Where she
Whoa.
pulls the trigger thinking it's a real gun, and it just a little one of those little bang papers comes out of it.
Yeah.
And then she's
Oh,
like,
that's
"Oh,
awesome.
oh no!" And then the Joker's like, "Oh," like the Joker, like you think he's gonna be mad at her, but instead he's like really like, "Oh, Puddin'."
Yeah, it's like, oh,
You know,
baby, you're the greatest, or
Yeah,
something.
baby,
It's-
you're the great. Exactly, that's exactly the line. I was like, yeah, exactly. That's Harley is one of those characters. Now with Selena Kyle, I like her version in. She was like they made her like an environmentalist essentially, and well, the same with Poison Ivy actually. But
Oh yeah, she always
but
is.
I
yeah,
thought Poison
now.
Ivy, the sexiest version of Poison Ivy, is from the '90s cartoon. Like
Yeah.
the first version, not that redraw that they do later on, because later on they get very angular. I don't know why they did that change in the art style.
I think it was cheaper to animate. I think that was the excuse.
Yeah, well,
Aw.
I didn't much appreciate that actually. As a kid, I realized it. I was like, what the hell have they done? Why does everything look stupid?
Screw this.
Yeah, like, well, even as like a 11-year-old or 10-year-old that I was exactly their demographic, except I had a vagina, so no, maybe not. But I was still
Close
watching it. They must have had at least some girls in mind because, like I said, they have a lot of female characters, and Batman is full of them.
Oh yeah, totally.
So like we have, but I remember specifically like I liked Selena Kyle. I thought she was always really cool. She was sexy and strong, and she always doing gymnastics off the roof and stuff. Like I was like, yeah. And she had
That's pretty
she had that
cool.
whip too. I was like, all right, yeah. And they had
I think with Poison Ivy, I did always like it when I know the movie's not great, but Uma Thurman playing her. I think as a kid that
when she gets
that-
out of the
that did it for
gorilla
me.
suit. Come on, that was a little odd,
Yeah.
right? Like,
oh, it was weird.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I was in George Clooney's position. I was like, oh.
I think though with Poison Ivy that because I absolutely adore the animated series, but there's a couple of little kind of slight clunkers in there as well. But there's a great episode that has a piece of dialogue that's just like what. Where it's the one where like Alfred gets sent to like a rejuvenation clinic that turns out to be run by Poison Ivy, and he
Oh, yeah.
she turns people into trees and stuff.
yes,
And,
it's really freaky.
Yeah, I remember that episode like scaring me as a kid. But looking at it now, there's a bit where she's got Batman, and for some reason she's trying to do something to him, and it's going to take a while. And she's like, "Well, that's okay, Batman. I have the patience of a redwood." And then he just goes, "And the convictions of a fanatic." And it's just like that's your best comeback.
I know, I could totally get that. Well, I liked that one. Like I said, when they went on to the different art style, and they changed Robin to Nightwing, and then they also got it got a little meh for me. But I did enjoy Batman Beyond,
yeah.
which was technically a sequel to that. Which in a way kind of put you it shows you what Bruce Wayne became. I'm like a curmudgeon-y old. I was like, that's exactly. It was accurate. He's alone. He has no one. He's like, this is what would happen. It shows you the consequence to his lifestyle.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
totally. Yeah.
Barbara Gordon is now the new Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
that.
no, and they also had some good characters, and they also had some really freaky moments and characters that were a little bit like, oh crap.
Yeah. But,
So no, I mean, I can appreciate like the DC animated series. I mean, I played the Arkham games, which are great. At least they started great.
Oh yes.
I don't know how they are anymore, but like the first ones were really good. Arkham
no,
City was awesome.
I think they were all solid the entire way through. I enjoyed every one of those games. So I know some people have beef with Arkham Origins because it is a bit of a rehash of
Oh,
City,
yes.
but I thought the story was genuinely quite good. And I was like, no, well, you could just make. As long as I get to run around the city as Batman, that's all. I don't care.
all you
That's
want.
all
I
I'm
mean,
fine.
and then we have the movies. I can watch the 80s Batmans, the Tim Burton-y versions. But
You're supposed to say they're your favorite.
I wouldn't say. Funny enough, let me think of which movie would be my favorite Batman. It probably is this man. They all got these. I don't know if they're my favorites. So there's things I like about all of them and things I don't like. Even the old Joel Schumacher ones, they have some hilarious
yeah.
bits. I'm
They're
sorry,
fun,
but
aren't they?
Jim Carrey really was meant to he was the Riddler. He was really well cast. I know him and Tommy Lee Jones apparently hated each other on set.
Yeah.
I love reading about
Well, did you guys ever watch that Netflix documentary about Jim Carrey playing, from the movie The Man on the Moon? He was playing.
Oh,
what's
the
his name?
Andy Kaufman one.
And
Yeah.
And apparently he was a psycho pain in the ass method actor about it. And so I could see him becoming the Riddler and being like that. Like, imagine that. No wonder Tommy Lee Jones wanted to, like,
100%.
kick his ass.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Tommy Lee Jones, I think he would still kick your ass, even though he's ancient. Like, I can still see that guy, like, just beating the shit out of you. Not
Oh,
you in
totally.
particular, but in
He's
general.
He's an old-fashioned man
Yeah, exactly.
as well, whereas Jim Carrey's more like me.
Very cartoony.
I couldn't fight Tommy Lee Jones off, even at his
I
age.
was like, oh, forget it. Just take your ass kicking, because don't bother fighting.
But I guess though, like, the way you're saying, you seem to be very much heavily on like animated series side. But do you have any memories of when you first saw this particular film?
Okay,
Was it
so
kind of like because it was post animated series? You're like,
It was.
all right,
I definitely
you know?
watched this post animated series because the animated series came out because of the second Batman movie,
Yeah,
which is the one with God, what's her name?
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer, and like I have kind of a like love-hate relationship with her rendition of Batman. Oh, not Batman, of Catwoman. Because I know some people really like it, but like compared because that came out at the same time as the animated series, those are completely different characters. I was actually quite shocked as a child because I went to go see the Batman in the theater. They took me to go watch it. And I had been watching the animated series, so I was like, yay, I love Catwoman. And I'm like, who the hell is this?
This isn't
This isn't
Catwoman.
Catwoman. She's a psychopath, like dominatrix.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, it's from what we can infer of Catwoman in Batman Returns, which is we'll be covering next year. So if you want to come back to talk some Catwoman,
Yeah. Oh,
then
I'd love to. I'd love to go on that one because Danny DeVito was perfectly cast as the Penguin. Holy crap! Like that guy was made to be the Penguin.
Oh yeah,
But
I love
Christopher
everything.
Walken is in that one too. Oh my god.
Yeah, but like that version of Catwoman is kind of like, I guess she's like a dominatrix zombie because she comes back from the dead.
She comes back
and
from
stuff.
and the cats when they bring her back to life, they're biting her fingers. It gets really freaky. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I'll admit though, as a kid,
You found it sexy?
I still do.
I mean, okay, look, I can see why guys do find her sexy, but like I found her a bit scary. I thought she was scary. She was almost like a Frankenstein because even the suit was all like this, like patched together. First off, she took one leather jacket and made that suit. I was
Somehow,
like,
yeah.
I'll take this. I'm like, what? First off, you don't take that leather and make that, type of costume, that latex. It's not how it works, all right?
But, we'll definitely have to get you back for that one though, because it seems like save
yeah.
save it for next year.
Yeah, there's a lot of things
Yep,
I have to
definitely.
say about that movie, especially when she's like, I need to give myself a bath. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, that's a classic scene.
Yeah. And she tries to swallow his canary.
But we should also quickly ask, because we do tend to ask of guests as well. Jack Nicholson, sexy or no? What do you reckon?
In this version?
No, just
in
Jack
general?
Nicholson in general. Just you think?
I would say I'd definitely say sexy. And I've seen like some of his older movies in the 70s and in his prime. Well, Leonardo DiCaprio, funny enough, is looking like Jack Nicholson nowadays. Like he
Yes.
is looking just like him. So,
That's his son, without a doubt. He's had an
like,
illegitimate
I think
child.
so. So, yeah, I mean, I find Jack Nicholson to be like cool. Like he's cool. He like looks like, someone who's just like, could just say whatever the hell he wants. And what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
And one last time for our good listeners who've stuck with us. I'm sure they've heard you multiple times now, but one more time, where can they find you and your work on the internet?
All right, so I am known as Caffeine Jedi online, so that is CAFFINE Jedi. And you can look me up on YouTube or on Facebook. I think I'm also on Twitter, but I never check my Twitter because Twitter is too much hassle.
Well, I won't be tweeting you then.
I mean, you
I'll
can.
check your
I
Facebook.
do occasionally like get the notifications, but
I think actually, if you look back at like months ago in your Twitter, I think there is a request from us to come on the show, and then it was
Oh my-
like it was a while later. I was like, I'll ask her through Facebook, and then it was an instant, yeah, I'll come on. I was like, oh, there you go.
no, that sounds right because like I usually answer my PMs on Facebook fine. But Twitter, I just don't have the time for it. Like Twitter is one of these things that can be quite mundane because you have to go through everybody's tweets and then you start fighting with someone and then it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it happens on Facebook too, but it's just like, oh my god, someone's gonna tell you the sky is red and you're like, the sky is not red, you freaking moron. Yeah, it is red. Can you prove it? Oh no, like that's fake news. Oh, you go all over the place there. Yeah, so no, that's it.
Oh, well, definitely check that out. Ignore the Twitter. No,
No,
don't.
I mean, you can follow me on
still
Twitter.
tweet,
I'm
still
on
tweet.
Instagram. It's all Caffeine Jedi. I think I use the same name. Actually, if you Google my name, Caffeine Jedi, you will find me on some forums called shroomery.org. And I can just tell you, maybe someone with the same name as that was finding out about the psychedelic mushrooms and posting on it. I will not say that was me, but I'm just saying that that's maybe someone with that same name.
We won't confirm or deny either way. Just check it out anyway. And check us out. We are very active on Twitter. That's one of our main places. We're at Batminute89. If you still say the @ I'm still not entirely sure if that's important anymore. And we are on Facebook at the Batminute 89 Listeners Society, which is your number one place to chat to us. And make sure, I haven't mentioned this for a few episodes here, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. That helps us very much, and we'll be your best friend forever and ever and ever. We'll be locked in to a contract to be your friend. We'll come to your birthday and everything. Yeah. And join us again on Monday, because we'll be back for more of Tim Burton's Batman. We'll have minute 79, all the way at 79. So see you then.
Next time, in Murata in Memoriam, as a home invasion is added to the equation, will the callous Count of Clannery come up with an excellent description of the cruel kismet of his cursed courtesan? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.